Hello. Welcome back to another episode of That Pop Culture Podcast. Joining me today is Netflix's biggest fan and my co-host, Juan, and our guest star, Kingdom Come Deliverance's biggest fan, Jess, is making her triumphant return for a second episode. Hello, how are you guys doing today?
I was okay until that intro.
Hey, you can't win them all.
I aim to please.
Yeah, well, I was doing really good. Now that you started talking about Netflix, I have a few bones to pick.
Oh boy.
All right, so this is like our third recording, just so everybody can have a little peek behind the curtain. How is everybody doing for the third time?
You know, even better now.
I'll turn on the echo again. I'll turn it on right now.
All right, get it up. Everyone wants to hear me twice.
I do. I definitely do. All right, so in the 25th time that we did a recording, you were telling us about Dice Throne. Can we go over that again?
Okay, so I've been playing a board game a good bit. I've been playing it for a little while now, but I've been getting more into it. It's a pretty cool board game that, like, each set comes with two different boards with different rules for different characters. They actually just started doing Marvel ones, too, for all the Marvel fanatics out there. It's a very cool game, worth checking out. I'm going to have to teach you how to play next time I see you, because I think you would probably like it.
I've been hardcore into Dice because of Kingdom Come, so I'm definitely down for any of that.
Hell yeah.
What?
I heard it again, sorry.
Favorite game. All right, if we're talking about stuff that we've been diving into, all right, so Jess had to go do some stuff with my mom on Friday, and I took that time to go to the driving range, obviously. She was leaving, I was kicking her out the door, and I was like, I'm going to go golf, bye.
True.
So when I got home, I asked her brother if he wanted to get on Discord and talk for a few minutes, and we played Elden Ring for a while, and then he was like, I'm getting bored with this. I'm like, thank God, because I was too. So I was like, all right, should I bust out the old Xbox or should I put on, like that Patrick Star game I was talking about? And Jess had just gotten home and her brother were like, oh, I'll bring out the old Xbox. So on my list, I think I told you guys about this. I might have brought it up on the other podcast. On my list was to play Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition Remix. One of my favorite all-time games from when we were our childhood. So I brought up the old Xbox and I started it up and I was loving it. And it's the reason I like it the most is because I feel like you can really... Excuse me, I'm sorry, guys. I feel like you can really... customize all of your cars. Like, you can change the bumpers, the side skirts, the hoods. If you have, like, a muscle car, you can put wheelie bars on it or a giant, like, air intake coming out the hood and stuff like that. You can put spinners, which is my favorite part, is you can put spinners on your cars. And I love it so much. So me and Jess were playing like a lot of that. Like she was playing Sims and whatnot, but like she was playing with me and like watching me do a bunch of these races and go through the career mode. And we got to Hotlanta. And me and Jess started to notice something weird because I'd say we went through the first city in a few hours, like maybe 2 or 3 hours. And then when we got to Atlanta, the races, obviously, they become a lot harder. You're in the second phase of the game out of 3 because it's San Diego, Atlanta, Detroit is actually the third map and the last one. So Atlanta, obviously, the races are a lot harder, but I have some pretty good cars. So I'm like, I'm faster than everybody. I can turn better than everybody. Why are they beating me so much? You can even ask Jess. I was like throwing a hissy fit. Like you would have thought I was a fucking baby in here. So I couldn't figure out how these people were beating me. when I'm faster and my car control's better. So Jess was like, one, she was like my extra pair of eyes. She was like, they're going these other ways. Try going those ways. And that helped us win a few games. And then we started noticing that if you're not specifically behind a car or looking at it with your camera, maybe if it's behind you because you can look behind you, they do not take damage and they do not hit stuff. So while your character hits everything, walls, pillars, obviously like bus stops, buses, cars, all the other cars, everything except for pedestrians you can hit in the game. The other cars, the other, like your people you're trying to beat for the story, they do not take any damage or hit anything if you're not specifically looking at them or right next to them. So it was like an entire day where I was just like in the fucking house, like just raging, and Jess was like, put it down. And I'm like, well, if I don't fucking do it now, I still got to do it later. And that's how we figured out that these people were beating me, is because they literally, I watched one where I was like, Jess, watch this. And we went around a turn, and one of the cars went right through a pole full speed and just went straight through it. No damage, slow down, nothing, dude. So that has been kind of pissing me off, because the game's only going to get harder. Detroit is like the hardest city. So it's like it's only going to get harder, so I don't know what to do with that. Like, I'm going to keep trying to play the game, but dude, it is extremely frustrating when the other characters don't play by the same rules that you play by.
You know, this is something that's more common than you think in games. So Total War 3 is a game that I mentioned a couple times that I've been playing a bunch of. And the harder difficulties in the game, I won't get too into it, but the harder difficulties in the game, they actually just start cheating. Like, they do things that if you did the same stuff, it's just not an option for you. Like,
right.
some factions can only recruit 3 units a turn, and they'll just, like, recruit 20 guys in one turn and be like, oh, by the way. And I also get frustrated with that. I tend to like when things get more difficult because the strategy or the AI gets better or smarter,
yeah.
or maybe they take a different route or they hit less stuff. But it is definitely frustrating when you're just competing against something that doesn't even exist on the same
by the
plane
rules.
as you. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. That's exactly it. Because like I was telling Jess, I was like, I'm not mad if they're faster than me. So like, I was telling her though, like if with any game, you know, like Elden Ring, all the Souls games are a good example. The bosses get harder because they move more intricately and they hit harder. But if the boss just walks through the wall and hit you, you're going to be pissed. Like, I'm not mad when somebody is faster than me, but when you're not playing by the same rules, it's like, well, how the hell? Like, I don't get how you integrate that into the code. Like, is it just these things just move? And I'm not even talking about the racing game right now. It's just like, how do they have that written into their code to be able to do that stuff, but then you don't? Literally, it's the most annoying thing in the entire world.
Maybe you should just get good. Just kidding.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us on another episode. I'll catch you guys later.
Just be better.
Yeah, be better. Get good, nerd.
I'm mostly making fun of myself because that seems to be a lot of the advice that I get in the game that I'm playing when I try to play on the harder difficulties. Is just like, oh, well, you gotta be good. And it's just like, oh, that's my mistake because I'm very bad at this game.
I should have thought about that.
Yeah, I really should have considered like getting better, but I would much prefer not to do that.
Well, how about we keep this tangent? You brought up Total War. You put something in our topics for the next podcast about Space Marine. Do you maybe want to cover that, brother?
Yeah, I was very surprised to see that on, I think, March 13th, they just announced that there will be Space Marine 3, and it is going to be either in development now or it's going to start development within the next month or so. It does look like it is 4 or 5 years out, which is fair, but
take your time.
That is, I definitely would prefer they take their time, and that gives it time for maybe the next generation of consoles to be out, people to upgrade their PCs maybe, because this one was pretty intense, honestly, for most people's computers, and even it was pretty big on Xbox and everything.
I was gonna say it made my Xbox turn into a jet engine.
Yeah, it was. I had to download it specifically on my C drive and not my hard drive, and like definitely had to turn most of the settings down, but it still looks good. My PC's like pretty middle of the road, I'd say, and it was definitely some struggle getting it to start up originally. But I actually there's not that much to talk about with the new Space Marine besides the announcement. So I do kind of want to segue into what do you think about both of you? What do you think about games getting announced that far out? Because this kind of reminds me a little bit of them announcing the new Elder Scrolls game like 13 years ago, which is a much more extreme example. But what do you think about them announcing a game 5 years in the future?
No, not a fan.
It is
I
strange.
I agree with you guys on that point. Like, I'll use the example as Tony Hawk because I want to talk about that next, so it'll be another good segue. Tony Hawk got announced March 4th, and it comes out in July. That gives them time that if they need to push it back, they absolutely can. I don't think there's anything wrong with pushing something back, another quarter or whatever. But I genuinely don't want a game to be announced unless it's already playable. Like the devs have it played, they have it mapped out, and then they're just kind of tweaking it. I prefer, and I think it's better for sales too, if we're talking from like a financial standpoint. It makes more sense to announce a game that's going to be coming out soon. Like, hey guys, we got this new game coming out. It'll be out next summer. And they announce it in the winter or whatever. Because then it's top of people's minds. They don't get exhausted with waiting for it. And then it also gives the developer less time to screw up before it comes out. Like Elder Scrolls was announced 25 years ago when we were still in diapers. Starfield came out. They still haven't released or announced the Oblivion remake, so a lot of people are really not happy with Bethesda right now. So I think it's always better to only announce something that'll be out soon. Like, Gears of War is another good example. I think they announced that in December or November. You guys don't got to quote me on that, but like that's going to be out this year, at the end of the year. I know people who are still, like a couple of guys in my work that don't even have Xboxes. They're like, I might get an Xbox to play the new Gears because it's been so long since a good one came out. They are not going to fucking forget because it's going to be out soon. Do not announce it too early. Honestly, I mean, it is what it is. If you do it, that's on you. And I think Space Marine is a specific example because at the end of 2, they said, this story's not over. And I thought that they were maybe just going to do maybe a story DLC. But it probably saves face for them because they shouldn't have put that in the game that the story wasn't over. Because then in a year or two, they'd be like, well, the hell is the DLC that we were promised basically in the game? And then they'd be like, a new game will be out in a decade. Because you got to think 5 years really means 6. Because they're going to take more time than they probably need. But like you were talking about how heavy this game was, Space Marine 2. I'm so happy that we brought that back from the first episode to now. Space Marine 2, the engine looks amazing. Like, they already have a completely built system. They have people who know how to code the maps and the games that they want. It should be pretty easy for them just to put out a new game in a year or two. I don't know what would take so long.
Maybe it's a matter of they want to put it onto like a new interface or a new what's the word? A new engine. Maybe like they weren't happy with this one for some reason with the behind the scenes, like how it was to code it.
Or maybe PlayStation and Xbox paid them for it to be a day one drop. Like maybe both of them want it to come out when the new console comes out. So that means they might have to wait a few years for them to do that. I know that was that's been a problem like repeatedly with games. I think it was with Forza back on the 360. They wanted to release on the Xbox, the original Xbox, and it had to be pushed to the 360. And I'm sure PlayStation had that problem when the PlayStation 5 came out because I know that they dropped with more games than Xbox did. I don't know what the thing is behind that because none of us are like economics majors, business majors. We don't know about how that stuff works, but there has to be some sort of reason why they announced it so early. I'm just not a big fan of it though. I just want a game to be announced when it's ready to come out.
I think there's a bit of a balance to it where you want to announce your game far enough out that there's speculation and there's hype and people are talking about it, like there's chatter, but you don't want to announce it so far out that people just like by the time it comes out they're like they've lost the hype for sure. I don't know what
Yeah.
the exact timeline for that would be, but I do feel like 5 years is quite a while, you know. But maybe it was kind of damage control. Like maybe they didn't want people to have unrealistic expectations for what the continuation of like the operations missions or story could be. Um, but maybe they also didn't want people because like people were waiting forever for Space Marine 2. Like there's a long time between Space Marine 1 and 2.
Yeah.
So
Like from
maybe they wanted
360 to now.
yeah, for sure. I think I was in high school when Space Marine came out.
Yeah, I think we were.
So like what 2014? I feel like it came out.
Oh, I think it was before that. I think it was like 12.
Maybe you're right.
But anyways, yeah, I get the point that you're making. I'm in that same boat. I think it's corny. Like just release it or don't. I mean, like release it or don't release it. Like if this Oblivion thing is good, I mean, like actually going to happen because obviously the copium is strong because they're talking about it again. They're talking that they might even just announce it like a month before it releases, and I'm honestly okay with that.
I
I
feel like
agree. I feel like the longer we have to wait, it kind of loses the momentum
Yep,
behind it.
exactly.
I feel like
I
a
just
month is not enough time for people to really get it together for the game too. Because think about how many people like actually take time off of work to play games, or they change their schedule to accommodate a new game. Like I feel like that's pretty common now. Like I know a lot of people will take a day off work when a new game they want comes out, or the day after, or whatever. I feel like also like a month is almost kind of a whirlwind for a lot of people. You know, like by the time that they have the reviewers get their hands on the game, but like magazines want to write their articles, or well, online magazines. Let's be real. Want to
Yeah.
write about it. There it needs to be like they usually want to hand it off to content creators a little bit early to generate hype and stuff like that, or to streamers. I'm definitely somewhere between 5 years and a month. I feel like
Yeah,
6 months out is a good amount of time.
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
Is
six
that I
months.
think 6 months is good because then people can wait for it. It can get into people's hands, and then also like you said, I mean, people can just take the time off or get the money out because games aren't cheap anymore.
Yeah, I definitely have experienced that before, where I knew in advance to start putting a couple dollars away here and there to get a new $70 game or whatever. Because realistically, with the world the way it is, you know, $70 is not something that is just. It's not nothing to sneeze at, you know. Some people definitely will have the
No,
budget
absolutely
for
not.
buying a new game. Probably even most people.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I'm in the same line of thinking that you are.
I'm even fine with like a year out or so, to be honest, but I feel like much more than that, and it's just like I feel like what am I doing with this information?
Yeah, right. It's like I don't have anything to look forward to yet because you're not even going to hear anything about it until like the month before.
Right.
Honestly, even a year is pushing it because you can really get lost in the den because there could be a lot of good games that come out before it. And if you are like, "Oh, I'm super excited for this game. I can't wait." And then a month before something like a Kingdom Come comes out where it's a fucking 100-hour game, like you're going to be busy that whole time you're waiting for it to come out.
Right.
Like you might not even buy it when it drops for that exact reason. Obviously, that's not what I did with Avowed. I think I already talked about it. It's because it didn't come out on physical. But I didn't get Kingdom Come because it was so like I heard about it like 3 weeks before it came out, 2 weeks. I was like, oh, I need to play that. But then the first game is a 50, 60-hour game. So I still haven't bought the second one yet.
That's definitely an element of it too, because especially if it's a sequential game, I do usually like to replay the previous iteration, or maybe replay like just the campaign of it, like the story missions, maybe not all the side quests or whatever. But so
Exactly.
there's definitely an element of like people need to sort of prepare for it, either time wise, monetarily, job wise, whatever. But I
Yeah,
definitely
absolutely.
5 years is just like I'm excited that it's gonna come out, but it's like it doesn't really mean anything.
Right. It's not even tangible for you guys yet. So how is it going to be for us?
Yeah.
So, on that point, real quick, I wanted to talk about something. So, like I brought up, Tony Hawk is coming out soon. and they announced it. I'm super excited. Pro Skater 3 is one of my favorites. I think we covered that on the Ryan and Julian episode. They finally announced it. It's going to be out July 11th, and I have a bone to pick with this game already. So
Is it about Bam?
that's exactly what this is about.
I know this guy, fellas.
Dude.
Is he clean now?
I don't know if he's sober. I'm pretty sure he got a DUI recently.
Shit.
So probably not. And I think that's what Julian was saying, is that's why they're not including him, is because he's been so sketchy the last few years. And I don't like to make excuses or anything, but it's not like this guy's had the best life. Having money doesn't mean your life's easy. I am pretty bummed out about it, specifically that they're excluding him, especially because him and Tony Hawk were just hanging out the other day. They posted a bunch of videos. Maybe he's trying to make amends with everybody. Maybe he started AA again. Maybe he's just fresh out of rehab. Maybe he's trying to get included. But he's my favorite skater of any of the original games, from 1 all the way to American Wasteland. He's my favorite. So it's they're excluding him because he doesn't have the best history of keeping himself under control. But it's this is also a game where you can break your arms and legs, and when you fall, there's giant blood splatters, so you can kill your skater. So it's maybe what this guy does in his personal time, he shouldn't be a role model, but it's just really frustrating because it's if you're gonna remake a game, because it's a complete remake, don't take stuff out of it that kind of takes away from the point that it's a remake. Now it's just a version of the game.
See, for me, that's exactly the line. If this was a new game and they decided they didn't want to include him because they didn't feel like maybe they didn't want him representing the company, or
Right.
being a representative of the game, I think that's totally fair. I really feel like
Absolutely.
that's kind of to their discretion, but it does feel weird when you're making a remake of something and you're choosing to not include something that is still in the original game if you fire it up.
Especially when it has nothing to do with the game. If he was talking bad about the company, talking bad about Tony Hawk, doing stuff related to any of the skaters, beating them up, destroying their property, adultery with their wives, anything like that. I get it. You're affecting the exact brand, but you put him in the game in the first place because he was crazy, and now all of a sudden it's not okay. It's not like he's walking around spewing hate, which, that seems to be fine for a lot of other things, but somebody has an addiction problem and then that makes them excluded. But also, peer into me as a person, for any of our listeners, I'm one of the few people that I know that I don't demonize addicts. I don't think they're bad people. I don't shame them particularly for how they act. Life's hard. People cope the way that they cope. Do I want people to be clean and live good, healthy lives with healthy relationships? Absolutely. Who doesn't want that? That's exactly what you want especially for people like a Bam Margera or a Tony Hawk, people you idolized growing up. You want them to have a great life. But I also just don't think that people who have addiction problems are bad people. So I don't think that it's fair. You're not enabling addiction because you include somebody into a game because they have a problem. It seems weird when so many Hollywood celebrities that are, top of mind, top of news all the time, they have clear as day addiction problems. A lot of them embrace it, but then they don't get excluded from whatever they're in. But then a skater has problems because, a best friend dies, divorces, stuff like that. That's stuff that's hard for anybody to deal with. And sometimes when you're these rich, famous people, they're probably not surrounded by the best people to help them through these hard times. So a lot of people cope in different ways. So that's a peak for me. I don't particularly dislike addicts. Like I said, you want them to be better, but you can't tell somebody how to live their life. None of us asked to be here. So you deal with what you get the way that you deal with it. And like I said, like you brought up, if he was doing something that specifically was against the brand, I absolutely get that. But it's now it's just going to be a random version of a game because they're already adding a bunch of new music, which, I mean, it's a small game that people are going to pour a lot of hours into. You don't want to listen to the same songs over and over again like we had to back in the day because of limitations. But it's like it's already becoming a different version of the game because they're adding new stuff to it. Taking stuff out is going to kind of take away from the whole thing. By the way, I'm still going to buy it, everybody.
It'll be interesting to see if they replace him with anyone, or if it's just like a gap in the content.
Well, I know that they are going to be adding new skaters and whatnot, which that's awesome. And that's the other thing that I think is cool. It's like then it's also going to give exposure to new skaters and stuff like that. But like I think adding stuff into a remake, I think it's for the most part acceptable, especially when you're enriching the gameplay for people. And this can go for any games. Let's move away from specifically Tony Hawk. If you add stuff in, cut content like they wanted to do with Kotar on the Switch. In this Oblivion thing, I guess somebody who was supposedly developing for them, they said they're going to add cut content. I like when you add more and enrich the player thing, but don't take stuff out. And I know a lot of people don't like to look at video games this way because for some reason it's still stigmatized separately from all other art, but it's art. Art doesn't always hold up. Art is a product of its time. Don't remake a game if the people you included in that game went on to do worse stuff, and it's like that doesn't mean that game specifically is bad now. It's art. You shouldn't change it.
I do think
That's just me though.
I do think it's a weird spot to draw the line. Like I wonder if there's more to it.
There probably is. We don't know everything.
Yeah, I feel like it's weird to just draw the line where they did without there being more to it. Like maybe he wanted more out of it. Like maybe they had to pay him for his appearance and he wanted more money and they couldn't come to a deal, but then they just blame X, Y, or Z for it. Like, well, he's not in the game because of blah, blah, blah. Like, I feel like it's gotta be something else. Like, I feel like it's the thing that I always assume when it comes to like an appearance like this is a monetary dispute. Maybe they're like, "Hey, dude, you're kind of washed up," and I don't mean that. I don't mean that in a mean way or whatever. But he's definitely not who he used to be. He's not as popular as he used to be. He was huge. Like he was all over all the skateboarding magazines, and he was like had all sorts of deals with skate companies and everything. And it's like now you don't really hear much about him if you're not looking to hear about him specifically. So maybe they're like,
I guess they have not made an official statement, but they said it's more likely than not the legal controversies of recent years.
Yeah, I know.
But like you said, we don't know because they didn't publicly say why or why not. Because clearly, him and Tony Hawk are still friends. They literally just posted videos where they were just hanging out and skating, completely friendly and everything. But it must. I mean, like you said, there's probably something else to it. What were you gonna say though? You wanted to add something?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, you're probably right, dude. You're probably in the right vein.
Maybe he made that choice himself to exclude himself.
Could be true.
Yeah, I feel like there's a real
maybe
chance.
It's like a mental health thing.
Yeah, maybe he's sick of being kind of like drawn into the limelight when he's dealing or trying to cope with what he's dealing with, or something. Like, I feel like with these things, there's usually more to it. Though my first assumption is about a monetary dispute when it comes to such a huge remake of a video game. Like maybe they were playing chicken and he's like, I want more money and I'm not going to be in the game if you don't give me more money. And they're just like, okay, we wrote you out of the game.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Because there isn't really a storyline, so.
Because it's not like they're going to play around with it when it's that much money on the line with something that's going to, like, everyone knows that's going to sell big. It's going to be huge.
Yeah, and I don't think the first 1 and 2 did bonkers money to begin with, plus the Activision acquisition from Microsoft probably hampered another, 3 and 4 coming out. So I think that they need this one to do good, so there might be cutting costs so that it does do good. Because I think everybody is universally in the same boat that they want Thug 1 and 2 to be remade. But this one has to do good for it to be remade. And a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not going to buy it because I want a Thug remake. And it's like, well, you're not going to get it if you don't buy this one. Like, they're not going to just keep pouring money into it if you're not going to support what they're doing right now.
Is Thug a game?
Thug is Tony Hawk Underground and Tony Hawk Underground 2.
Oh, every time you say that, I think of those little, like, homies action figures you used to get out of the Kmart vending machine.
Hell yeah.
I know exactly
I
what you're
remember those
talking
ones.
about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are super sick. It's funny you say Kmart because when I think of the homies, I think of the Kmart in Waterford.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Oh my god, that's so funny. All right. What else did we have to cover today? I know I got. Oh, I got a good one. I got a good one. I got a good one.
No.
So I have moved on to Star Wars Rebels, and this show is it's not for people who have a sensitivity to light. They cut so much every 2 seconds in the show that it like gives me brain damage watching it. They'll be like in the middle of something and it'll cut 8 times in like one conversation. It literally is. I don't even know how to explain it without either of you two watching it. It's literally just cut, 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 cut. And not like the cool cuts that like Star Wars is known for, like the crazy transitions and whatnot. The transitions are awesome. This is literally like if you blink, it's like blinking and it's a new scene every time you blink. It's insane. Like it gives me a headache.
I already don't like it.
Overall though, good show. What's
I,
that?
I I can't stand that kind of stuff. I need some amount of continuity on the screen.
Dude, this one would give you
A migraine,
some sort
probably.
of brain disease, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm not like sensitive to light or like I don't have any issue or like epilepsy in that regard or whatever, but I definitely have watched shows and played video games where like it's so jarring the way that like the screen jerks around or the way it cuts over and over again that it gives me a headache. And like I'm prone
Yeah,
to
dude.
migraines, so like that probably sounds like it would be bad for me, but I still want to
Yeah,
try
I
to
don't know
watch
if
it.
you're going to be interested in it, and I hope you do try it because I think the story is actually pretty cool. But it is like just man, and I don't even know if a lot of people would notice, but I'm one of those people to like bring it to like TV and movies and whatnot. I'm a huge, huge, huge fan of long scenes, extremely long setups, extremely long dialogues, very long scenes. Like Jaws is one of my favorite movies for that exact reason. Like there'll be like a 5-10 minute scene where they don't cut one time. It's just all filmed in a straight row. I love that. That is like one of my favorite aspects of movies. And you really only get it from like, most of the greats, like the great directors. But like, since I'm such a big fan of it, I really notice when there's a cut every 10 seconds. I'm just always hyper aware of it. And even like if you're watching like anime, like Naruto, Dragon Ball, you'll get really long fight sequences where there's not a cut. Like you could tell they just drew, and they just kept on going. And so it's just like a lot of my favorite media has really long scenes. So when it's not like that, dude, it is jarring. Like it can take you out of a scene.
Yeah, like I always think about it like the way that you view life is through a continuity, like or continuity. Like you don't there's no break, you know what I mean? Like your break
Right.
point is when you close your eyes and you go to sleep. So
Uh
I
huh.
feel like the closer you can get to that when you're recording something or creating something, the more to life it feels.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
What did you have on your list today? Just nothing?
I don't really have a list.
Oh, okay. I
I
didn't know if
just
there was
I
anything
go
you
with
wanted
the
to
flow.
cover. What's that?
I go with the flow.
Go with the flow?
Yeah. Unless we're gonna talk about Animal Crossing, 'cause then I can be here for 9 hours.
Just a lore cast about Animal Crossing?
Yep.
Animal Crossing does
And The
rule.
Sims.
Tom Nook shiesty ass.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about him.
You know what? This is actually a great jumping point. I'm sick of the Tom Nook slander. I think
I'm sick of him being the worst character, but yet he's on all over the merch.
I
How is my tent a million bells? Explain it to me.
I think that Tom Nook is offering 0% interest, 0% down loans to upcoming homeowners, and he gets slandered and thrown around his name in the muck. I
Can you look at Discord real quick, honey?
yeah, I see it. It popped up
Yeah.
immediately. He doesn't make any money off of it. There's no interest on the loan. I
have
think
to do
he's a
all
good
the
guy.
design planning. No. And what are those? His little nephews that are running the Nook shop? No.
Timmy and Tommy. I love Timmy
No,
and Tommy.
yes. No, I get so frustrated. Get off of me. How can I shop when you're on my throat? Back up.
The only way I'm willing to buy something in a store is if I have hot breath on my neck. Like,
No,
that's the
every time
only
I
way.
every time I go in there, I do a full speed run just to get what I'm getting, and then I run and try to make it out before they get to me. I didn't ask for your, I don't need assistance shopping today. Go away.
I like the effort. You know, I like that they're really trying. They're trying to live. They live in their father's shadow. They're trying to live up to his entrepreneurship. I
have some very big choice words for you.
I am personally a Tom Nook fan. I'm saying it. Sorry. I continue to be the heel on this podcast. It's ridiculous. Just every time.
I do miss the grumpy mole from Animal Crossing Wild World, that he would yell at you.
Which one was Wild World?
I don't know the answer to that question.
I don't know if it was like
It
on
was
the
on the
DS,
D-
if
yeah.
it was on the GameCube. Oh, okay.
The DS, yeah. He would yell at you for not saving. And I shit you not, it was a 45-minute process to get through. He would make you type out an apology, and if he didn't like it, you'd have to start all over again.
I
Really?
liked him.
Yeah.
It was in the original GameCube one too. He would come out and yell at you and be like, blah 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 blah. And in the original GameCube one, I'm pretty sure I remember from when I was a kid that when he was in the middle of his talk, if you turned off the game, when you turned it back on, he would be even angrier at you.
Oh, I've heard that.
All caps,
I've heard that.
and he would just start yelling. Like, he was seconds from dropping slurs.
That's crazy.
Oh man, I could see it in his eyes though. I think you're right.
Oh, yeah, he had his little pickaxe. Yeah, tore up the ground to get to you to scream.
I'm sick. This is ridiculous. I'm learning a lot about you guys. I'm not happy about this.
You know, this is an important question. Who do you think is the best character in Animal Crossing?
Me. What do you mean? Next question.
God dang.
You said me?
Yeah, like my character, the CEO of my island. I'm not sure why Tom Nook is even there. I can run this thing by myself. I've been doing it.
Well, it doesn't seem like you can because you needed him to fund your damn house.
Fund? Fund?
Well, he gave you the house up front. Where do you think that was free?
Bullshit. He's got me selling weeds. I'm fishing just to buy
y'all
the
trapping?
house that I helped build.
You're
No.
lucky he'll buy your weeds. You're lucky he'll buy your shitty furniture
That's
you
the
pull out of
thing.
the dump.
He doesn't buy any of it. Timmy and Tommy do.
Well, who do you think is
Child
the
labor?
mastermind? Well, child
Who's
labor is
controlling the
awesome in
child-
Animal Crossing.
Child labor is awesome. Absolutely insane.
Screen cap, episode title. I'm just kidding. Listen, you just said you're the CEO of the island and you allow child labor on your island. This sounds
Look,
like
I'm
something
not-
you're letting happen.
Listen, I wasn't going to bring this up about her, but I think it's time that we meet to air out some dirty laundry.
I should have started.
All I'm going to say is our house was built in a few days, and me and Jess weren't the one building it. This is obnoxious. I can't.
I should have started the podcast with child labor's biggest fan. Just
Yeah, when they passed those new child labor laws in Michigan, Jess was like outraged. She was like, I'm gonna go campaign in front of what is it called, the government building? What is it?
I
The
guess.
governor's house. The governor's house.
For sure.
She was not having any of it. She was like, "What? I cannot hire these people at my job because they're 11? Are you kidding?"
As soon as that law passed, Juan's just like, babe, why are you letting go of all these baby raccoons? It's just like, oh, all my workers gotta go home. They gotta leave.
Okay, look, we don't even know if they're children. They're smaller. So
They're
we'll see.
wearing rags. They're running for the hills.
I personally think that Blathers is the best character in the whole game.
They can change his dialogue, though, because that screaming who he does when you wake him up at 2 in the afternoon, a little annoying.
I don't know.
Oh, so he just like sleeps all day like an actual owl?
Yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
it would be cool.
He's pretty based. I'm saying it.
Get out of here with that.
I'm freebasing Blathers.
Freebasing is crazy. Putting them in a needle and firing it up.
I have no comment on that.
I love it. Oh God, I can't even.
I'm a big Blathers fan personally.
I do like Red, the shisty fox that sells the illegal artwork.
Oh, so you like the guy that's profiting off of artwork, but not the guy that gives you a 0% interest loan. Okay, all right, I see where you draw your line.
Okay, look, I understand how this makes me look bad, but it's okay.
I think you both are looking bad in this conversation.
Well, yeah.
I'm just saying, you're lucky I'm not on the island. I would have everybody
You're
revolting.
literally on the island. You refuse to play. I'm playing your character as well
I've never played the game. Jess made me a house, and she put a bunch of workout equipment in it.
because I got bored. Yeah.
I cannot say the name of my. I could, but I don't want to say the name of my island on this podcast. So remind me to tell you about it after
in the
the
Discord.
podcast. Okay.
Put it in the Discord. I want to see it. I want first-hand experience of how funny it is.
That's the name. That's the name of my island.
But how though? When you and Tom Nook are best friends?
Well, that's why Tom Nook's nice to me, is I keep him in line.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
That's diabolical.
Yeah, I really appreciate that you can download images on the new ones. So you can just get pictures of whatever you want for the custom templates.
Jess did not know that.
What do you mean?
Oh, I thought you opened your mouth because you were like getting a realization.
No, I opened my mouth because looking at the title of his island and then realizing he can do custom content and paste whatever pictures he wants as like his walkway.
Uh-huh.
It's a little scary.
Yeah,
Hey.
I will share that I shared an island for a long time with my little sister because we shared a Switch for a while before she got her own. At one point, she just bombed my entire house, like all around my house, by just plastering images of Ben Shapiro over the entire area around the island, just everywhere, of upside down and right side up pictures of him, just like a pathway leading from the airport to my home.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Dude, can you please put all of those JD Vance memes in your house now?
that would be a good one. I see new art gallery. Talk to your little
Dude, those
talk,
JD Vance ones are flame, dude.
talk to your little fox friend. Maybe he'll sell you some. Now that you've
I'm
slandered
not
Tom
buying
Nook.
nothing. Tom Nook is booty cheeks, bro. I have absolutely no interest. I do like the game. I think the game's really cute. I really like it. The only problem is that every time I start to get into whatever game she's playing on her Switch, she's playing the Switch because we only have the one. We're gonna get the new one when that comes out, but as of right now, since we only got the one, I basically peter out by the time she's done.
We have to actually get you and Bailey's friend codes so you guys can go to each other's islands.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I can't believe we haven't considered that yet.
I'm doing a total island reconstruction right now.
Yeah. Yeah, she was showing me some pretty cool stuff that she was doing last time. It was just funny because she was like, "Oh, I haven't played in forever. I'm gonna hop on it." She did this like 2 weeks ago, and then it was all still Halloween out,
Yeah,
literally.
I still have cockroaches in my house to keep people out. I don't like when they come over and I have to play like odd or even.
I can't stand the roaches. The roaches are crazy.
They're the best part because they walk in and they're like, "Ew, you got roaches," and I'm like, "Ah, I know, bye," and then they leave because it's gross.
I didn't know your island was in Pontiac.
Chill out.
All right.
I like that when you step on the roaches, they float up with the little roach angel wings.
You can kill the roaches?
You can.
That's
stomp 'em out.
crazy.
Yeah, you can step on them. Well, you really run them down.
I need to get into this game.
I got knocked out by a tarantula the other day.
A tarantula?
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't play. They do not
Knocked
play.
out?
Yeah, it bites
Oh,
you
yeah,
and
'cause
you
it bites
pass
you?
out. Yeah.
Oh
It-
my god.
When you go to like the little islands that you can explore or whatever that have the resources on them, I've definitely gotten stung by bees and bit by a tarantula like back to back. It's just like, okay, my guy, I'm just abusing my poor villager. She's just like, I want to go on a fishing trip, and it's just like, well, too bad the guy controlling you sucks at this game apparently, because we are getting cooked by bugs.
Well, it's okay. Tom Nook will give you a loan on your medical bills.
0%, 0% down, 0%.
Leave alone the 0%. If I hear it again, I swear to God on my life.
I guess I just don't know why he's even there. Like, thanks for the loan, but we couldn't do this over the phone.
Because
I have
he
to see when I
cares.
go in to to my ABT account.
He cares about the development of the island.
Isabelle is that bitch, though. I love her.
Oh my
great.
god.
Which one's that one?
What?
No, continue. Go ahead, talk about your favorite little fascist Isabelle.
What do you mean?
I'm gonna look up Isabelle right now,
How
guys.
is she a fascist?
I'm definitely putting a picture of this on the Instagram photo.
She's great. She does the morning announcement. She's a peach.
The morning announcements? What does she announce?
You don't
The
want to
weather.
know.
Or there's like special events. What?
Isabelle. Animal Crossing.
What is she, like a dog?
Yeah, she's like one of those,
Fascist puppies, according to you.
yeah.
There she is, right there.
I can't stand the fan art. Like, immediately just pulls up and it's just fan art of a fully grown-ass woman.
Let me see.
She's adorable.
Isn't she?
How could she be a fascist? She's so cute.
Why does she have yitties there?
I don't even want to get into that. All right, let me get an overview. I want to know why she's a fascist. First of all, her name is Shizu. So why is she Isabelle? She is a gentle Shih Tzu.
Shih Tzu?
Shih Tzu. She's a.
Let me see it. Give me the phone.
I want to get the backstory. I want the lore. I'll give it to you in one moment. Concept and creation. Let's see what we got here. It says she's very affectionate. That doesn't sound like a fascist to me. She's loyal. She's helpful.
Okay.
A
See?
bit clumsy, but very cute. Yeah, I have no idea.
It's just
Critical reception. Oh my god, they have a reception for her. Like they've gotten the reviews. The reviews are in.
it lowers your inhibitions about her that she's like, oh, I'm so cute and clumsy, but then when you least suspect it,
What does she do?
Yeah, explain. I'm confused.
I don't know. Have you ever played Super Smash Bros. Ultimate? She beats your ass with a hammer or a flower pot.
He's bringing in other games, a completely different universe.
Whoa,
a bad
what do you mean
for
different
sure.
universe? It's the same damn woman. It's the same dog. Oh my god.
I don't know, bro.
She's a queen.
She sounds like a very clumsy angel, from what I'm getting. I don't know, bro. You got me all confused because you're a Tom Nook fan. So now I'm confused. I didn't think I knew you.
It
I
says
thought
that
I knew you.
She has a positive reception.
What does that mean?
They
Oh,
love her.
positive,
The
yeah.
crowd has spoken. They love her.
Yeah, they love her. Not Hunter, but the crowd does.
Well, he likes Tom Nook, so it kind of says all we need to know.
I just think
Oh, she's in Mario Kart.
yeah, she's in Mario Kart and Super Smash Bros.
This is interesting. Crush. Who does she have a crush on? Hunter Crate. Oh my god.
Well, yeah, that's fair. Opposites attract, you know. I'm an altruistic good guy, so it makes sense that she'd like me.
You're insane in the membrane, dude.
I've sent some photos in the Discord for you to contemplate. I'll make sure to post them on the Instagram.
Yeah, we'll make polls to see if you guys like Isabelle or not.
Yeah, I would actually enjoy this.
Are these original stills, or what's going on?
Oh, I made all these just now. I'm just joking.
Oh, man.
I'm not even saying I'm Tom Nook's biggest fan. He's not even my favorite guy. I
You
just
love
think
him.
there's a lot of slander against that man. I think a lot of people, I don't hear enough people slandering credit cards and banks compared to poor Tom Nook. I'm just saying.
I do.
Imagine
I know a lot of people who do.
Imagine your credit
He
card.
is the credit card and bank.
Yeah, but it's a 0%
That's him.
interest credit card. You don't owe
I
any
knew he was gonna say
extra
that, yeah.
money.
He brought us to the island. I didn't ask to be here.
You bought the game. Yes, you
He's-
did.
Excuse me. I'm not done. I'm just saying, like I said before, this couldn't be done over like a phone call. I have to walk in and discuss with him what I want to do on my island. I bought the game. You said it yourself. It's my island. I don't need to loan anything.
If he's not there to make sure his child slaves are working, how would he
I'm
know that they're
cutting
working?
the trees. I have the lumber. Move. I'll do it myself.
You have to talk to Isabelle
fair.
too.
Yeah, well, she's great. I like those.
Wow. Okay. I'm starting to think this is a classic moment of ethics have beauty standards, and you just don't like raccoons. I think that you just think
I didn't say he wasn't pretty. I
What is
just
it
don't
called?
like
Pretty girl. It's like Pretty Girl Bias or something like that.
It's the
Like where they just
same
get away with whatever.
phenomenon that you'll smash a fly and you won't feel bad, but if you saw somebody stomp on a butterfly, you'd wince. And Tom Nook is the butterfly and the fly here.
Tom Nook is not the butterfly. I know for a fact he's not the butterfly. He's more of like a pig. I don't know what kind of pig, but he's a pig.
This is a tough podcast.
Yeah.
This is a tough one for me. I'm having a lot of feelings today.
Well, honestly, maybe if we would have got it on the first time, but this is the 25th recording, so
Yeah.
I blame that. We're all out of whack. We're all out of whack. All right, I actually saw, since we're talking about stuff that we absolutely hate. Hunter, do you
Whoa.
know who Playboy Cardi is?
Yes, I do, but I'm just since we're talking about stuff we absolutely hate. Hunter. Okay.
No, he did not put that in there. You did. The Jack Daniels is crazy.
This is how I feel after
Okay,
this
Destroyer
episode.
of Worlds is wild.
What is she in? Fucking the bad place of Lord of the Rings in the second picture?
I think so.
What is it? Mount?
Mordor.
Yeah, Mordor. This is insane.
She's at the base of Mount Doom, chilling.
No, it looks like she's in Mount Doom. Yeah, the Jack Daniels and the Tom Nook in jail is absolutely unhinged, bro.
It's just how I feel this podcast.
Can you edit one where it's like you and Tom Nook like chilling?
I'm afraid of what you're gonna do to the edit, to be honest with you.
Listen, I'm not the bad guy here. Tom Nook is. Oh God, that's so good. Hunter, if you could pick one of those that you would be okay with me posting, I would love that. If not, I won't post any of them. But I would love if you could get one in there where you think I could put that up.
I think you should do the bottom one.
The bottom one's great.
I think we should.
Okay.
I think that
All right,
should
we're
be
gonna
the
add that. Let
episode
me-
to cover.
That's absolutely unhinged. Okay, all right. You guys will see some of the photo. Well, one of the photos that Hunter sent us. It's insane. I don't know where it even came from. I don't even understand how it correlates. I love it
My
though.
hard drive.
All right, so thank you. All right, so you said you know who Playboy Cardi is?
Yeah.
All right, so
Sorry.
like I said, I wanted to incorporate more music into the podcast going forward. He came out with a new album, and Jess is a very, 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 very big fan of Playboy Cardi, and I like his music too. I mean, he's got some good songs.
For the record, I am not.
Every time, dude, there was like a 1 year period where every time she hooked up to the Bluetooth and started music, it was Vamp Anthem by fucking Playboy Cardi. She loves it.
Okay, that's a good song.
She loves
That's
it.
not grounds to say I'm the biggest fan.
She's got a Playboy Cardi tattoo.
I don't.
It's insane, dude. I'll post that on
It's
the
a full
Instagram too,
back
guys.
piece.
Just him with fangs, Vamp Anthem. Sorry, guys.
Good one.
Yeah, thank you. I'll be here all night. So, he came out with a new album. And Ricardo, our friend Ricardo, was like, he's making jokes about me in the group chat. He was like, Juan took the day off to listen to a new album, blah, blah, blah.
And you did.
Oh, yeah, I did. So I listened to it. It's been 5 years since his last release. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm excited. It's a pretty long album. I think it's like an hour and 40 minutes. It might be the biggest pile of dookie I've ever heard in my entire life.
Worse than Metallica and My Chemical Romance to you?
I would literally want Metallica and My Chemical Romance as the opener to come to my house and play for me on full volume while I just sit there. Before, like, this thing is ass. Like, I tried to put it on again earlier because I want to get all the way through it so I can give you, like, a solid. Oh, me and Jess were playing Xbox last night and I put it on. And she started texting her friends about it. She's like, I'm so fucking sick of listening to this album.
It's horrible. It's just a bunch of sounds.
That's the thing that blows my mind because he's got some pretty good, what do you
Does he?
call them? DJs? No. Producers. He has some of my favorite producers making his music on this album. And it just sounds like hogwash, dude. Like, imagine like if you hit a deer, but it was like still alive,
Oh my
and you like had to
God.
go back and double tap it
That's
so you can
fucked.
get the bacon, dude.
The
Like,
bacon.
yeah, wait, you venison? Venison. Sorry, I don't eat meat, guys.
Bacon.
Venison, bacon. My bad, man. It's bad, dude. Like, it's really bad. Like, it's probably like a 1 out of 10 for me.
It's bad, but he's played it like 6 times.
I played it 6 times. I played it.
You gotta let it marinate.
You know, sometimes you have to.
He's basking in
It's it's definitely not my favorite thing I've ever heard. So like I said, I'd give it probably a 1 out of 10. Ethan was flaming it hardcore, and then when we seen him over the weekend, he was like, "Hey, I listened to it again.
it. One being the highest.
There's actually some pretty good songs on it." And I'm like, "Dude, you are not going to be able to convince me. You cannot gaslight me into liking this album. This album is cheeks, dude."
All of the streams are from you.
No, I gave it the million, absolutely. Like at my Spotify rap, the end of the year is just going to be Playboy Cardi.
Vamp Anthem.
Basically.
No, that's Jess's favorite. That was the #1 played song 2 years in a row.
2 years running.
Da-da-da.
Oh, we should put that on the
You
soundboard.
shouldn't.
Yeah, we should.
No.
Oh yeah, we're gonna figure out how to add stuff. Oh yeah, so me and Jess got. Well, this will benefit when Hunter comes over as well. But we have like a 2-person setup in our house now, and we have a soundboard now. So this is the first time we're using it, which is one of the reasons why we had to record 8 intros. And I know that amount of intros we've recorded keeps changing every time I bring it up, but don't look too far into it. So we're gonna try to figure out some ways to mess with these boards. Jess and Hunter kind of figured out a problem we were having earlier, but I want to start putting in sound effects that we actually like. That's not even a good gunshot. That one's bad. There's a PUBG one. I don't know what that is.
We're afraid to find out.
But anyways, yeah, we're gonna try to put some new sounds into this, and then hopefully sometime soon, me and Hunter can do like an in live. It actually's got a battery on it, so we should try to meet halfway in the middle or something. If you don't come all the way out here, and we can do some records. I want to start doing, even if it's like once a month or once every 2 months. I would like to start doing all in person ones because it's really nice to like actually look at the person you're talking to. I think the only reason we're able to talk so fluidly is because we've known each other for so long. But yeah, that's the exciting thing that I wanted to announce about the podcast, because I'm super excited that I feel like we're getting our flow going like crazy. We've been getting some great feedback, which I think we should touch base on in a minute. I'm just excited that we're getting a good setup, and that I'm really excited to see where we go forward with this, because I really look forward to it every single week.
Me as well.
I was pretty excited this week.
All right, so you guys were bringing up that we had some comments. Do you guys want to cover some of those before we head out for the day?
Yeah, let me pull this up. So on episode 8, we had a couple questions from Farah here. What is Jess's favorite Sim storyline?
Habit. I will typically play like women of power, basically. So all of my female Sims are like CEOs, senior editors, etc.
Girl power.
No, period. And if I have any like male Sims, they're like the stay-at-home dads. They're cleaning the house.
I wish.
They're doing nothing
I
productive.
love that.
But it's not like
Goals.
because girl power. It's because I don't have the drive to do the male and female promotional requests and stuff to get the requirements for them. So I just focus on the girls.
That's fair. I get that. I think
I only have enough energy for one of them, and it's always going to be the girl queen.
I get that.
Slay.
I think playing as female characters has gotten more popular in recent years. Like, I think my last Cyberpunk playthrough was actually a female V. So I like seeing games that give you the option to do that, and hell yeah, girl in power. I'm all for it.
Oh yeah. Even when I watch movies, I always vote for the girl in power.
It depends. The Devil Wears Prada was not, she was not likable.
I have never seen that movie.
It's a really good movie. Do you have anything for the Sims storyline, Hunter? Do you ever play The Sims?
It's been a long time. I honestly can't think of any off the top of my head. I just remember getting mad at the characters, and I would build a room around them with no door.
See, you
It's
can't even
unhinged.
do that in Sims 4. I tried to
Unhinged.
do that in Sims 4. I tried to drown my Sims. I've tried to starve them out, and all they like photosynthesize or something. I don't know. I can't kill them.
Yeah, I used to
You guys are
put him in
crazy
the
this
put him in the
episode.
put him in the pool, delete the ladder. That was a classic.
That's what I did, and then they would just appear on the ground next to it. They're invincible, but then they go outside and get struck by lightning. I don't get
And
it.
then they gotta play chess with the Grim
I don't know what's
Reaper.
going on in this episode. It's so unhinged.
All right, next question. Pac-Man is an underrated game. Which game of Pac-Man do you guys enjoy the most? This is an easy one for me. The original Miss Pac-Man arcade game is my favorite Pac-Man by far.
That one's kind of good. We played that at the barcade. I like that.
I cannot get enough Pac-Man in my life. Any chance I get, especially just like the feeling of playing it on an actual arcade machine is just awesome to me. I love it. That's one of my favorites.
You're not a big fan of that one?
Here I come again with my hot take.
Uh-oh.
So I hated the arcade Pac-Man. Still to this day, I hate it. It makes me suicidal.
Like, you just don't like the 2D aspect of it?
I just don't like it, period. My favorite Pac-Man is Pac-Man World 2.
I like that one as well. I think typically I prefer the 3D versions of games. But I'm a fan of the 2D Pac-Man. I love the ghosts. Shout out to Clyde.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the storyline's good. Nobody talks. Thank you.
I do like talking.
I hate a non-verbal character they make verbal. Can't do it.
Yeah, I think actually a lot of people are in that camp. I don't think a lot of people like... If a character's never talked before, it kind of throws people off when they do start talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, okay, here's one. The book is great so far. You convinced me to start reading it. Which character did you dislike in the series? So she's talking about the Stormlight Archive, which, quick update, guys. I am almost done with the second book now. So overall, I am 100 hours into the books. I'm almost done with the second book. I did actually send her a response on YouTube, but I will reiterate for anybody who's listened to Stormlight Archive books. In the very first one, which is the one that Fair is reading right now, I did not like Shallan, which is the female main character of the book of that one, because they add more characters in the second one. I did not like her because, compared to every other character, she was way too inexperienced, emotionally inexperienced, and I found it very frustrating only because I don't mind when characters have no idea what they're doing. I only found it annoying in this book specifically because, in contrast to every other character in the book, they had more years under their belts, they had more stuff going on in their background. I felt like they did more. Shallan in the first book kind of just hung around. She had her internal conflicts, but she didn't do too much until the very end. Compared to, I felt like every other character in the book, they had a lot more going on. I didn't like her in the first book. Second book is actually focused on her backstory, where you learn a lot more about who she is and why she is the way she is. I like her a lot more now. She's probably one of my favorite characters in the second book. It's just the way that she was portrayed in the first was so young, and because she is young and inexperienced. I didn't like that in contrast to the rest. Second book, she probably is my favorite character. If we're going to talk about favorite characters of the first book, even though she didn't ask that, I'll just put this in real quick before we move on. Dalinar Kholin. I always like the hero completely surrounded by villains. Everybody is against him, and I like a character who sticks to their values no matter what. All right, we can move on.
All right. There is another one here. I agree with you all, or all of you, on the topic of Marvel. If they were released before Endgame, it would be so much better. I agree with Jess about TV formats. I felt it was unnecessary and lazy. If you had the opportunity to relive Marvel, what would you do? I think what is meant is like if you had the option to redo it, like in regards to like Endgame and everything. But I could be wrong.
I would have recast the Black Panther.
What?
this episode is
Yeah, the
off
Black
the
Panther.
rails. Off the rails.
I liked him a lot, but the fact that he passed away right after the movie came out, I think that I like that they wanted to honor him because he was such a great actor. Because he is probably one of my favorite Marvel actors. It's just that he knew the illness that he had when he was filming, and I think he should have told them sooner, and I think that he should have opened the door for them to recast him immediately. It sucks about what happened to him, but he was so good that it really, really sucks that just going forward we didn't have that character to keep going. Because I'm sure we could have found another talented actor to do it and pay respect to him.
We had the
absolute
crazy takes this
hogwash.
episode. Holy cow.
He's one of my favorite characters, and it's really crappy that we just didn't get him
I'm
anymore.
almost 100% sure for the comics that Siri takes over anyways. I'm sorry, Suri.
I think you're right. I think you told me that.
So it kind of like R.I.P. It kind of worked well with the story for him to no longer be there.
I just think
It just really sucks. I liked him a lot.
that's.
What were you saying?
I just think he is the Black Panther. Like, he is that character. Like, in the way that I feel like Robert Downey Jr. was Iron Man. Like, I don't
hate Iron Man, but I agree 100%.
Yeah, like, he played a very good role as to what he, like, you know, a lot of people really like him or really don't like him, and I think that that is a testament to how well he played that character. Like, you know, he's not for everybody, but like, and I feel the same way about the Black Panther. It's just like I feel like he really incorporated everything that character was so well that, like, I couldn't imagine a recast.
100%.
I could.
No. Who would you cast?
Well, the thing that sucked really bad is that the person I probably would have recast him with was Michael B. Jordan. And it's like you couldn't because he was the bad guy in the first movie. So that kind of sucked because he would have been, I feel like he would have been a very, very, very good Black Panther. And I think if we would have told Disney that he was dying, they probably would have killed off Michael B. Jordan. And they probably would have had him take up the mantle, maybe have a redemption arc or something. I don't know. But I definitely probably would have chosen him to be the Black Panther going forward because I think he's also another very, very talented actor that I would have really, I know. I would have really have liked him to be that. I feel like he would have paid the respect due to the T'Challa actor who passed away, sadly.
I'm pretty sure they were like best friends.
They might have been.
Outside of the movies. Yeah, they were really close.
Yeah, I'm not completely sure, but I think they're both so talented, and it sucks that one got killed off and then one actually died. So it's just like a big L for me because I think that both characters would have been great in that role. Obviously, one was. I don't know. That would have been my other thing. Also, I would have never made any of the Captain Americas. I hate those movies so much.
I think the different thing that I would have done is I think up to Endgame was really good. I think they did a great job. I think what they needed to do was return, instead of trying to go even bigger or maintain the grandeur that they went up to with Endgame and the stakes that they had, I think they needed to take it all the way back down. I think they needed to go to some very low stakes, kind of local superhero, take you back to what Marvel was originally before Endgame. I think that trying to compete with the level of Endgame just makes it feel like you're rehashing the same shit.
I get that.
Yeah, same.
So, like, I feel like more, and, you know, they kind of touch on it a little bit with, like, the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man thing in the Spider-Man movies, but, like, I feel like they need to make some new interesting characters, or, like, not make, but, you know, like, cover some new interesting characters and not do it in the way that they remake the hero origin story for the 150th time. And I think they need to stop chasing the high of Endgame and just do something different.
Yeah, I'd buy into that too. I think we are in agreement about that.
Also, recasting Robert Downey Jr. for another role is atrocious, in my opinion.
I agree 100%.
I like Doctor Doom a lot. I think he's one of my favorite. I liked him more than Thanos in the comics. The cartoons. I I just think it's a little bit of a silly choice, to be honest with you. I think it just takes away from the character and makes it about the actor too much.
Yes.
Well, I think for a lot of people, Marvel is Robert Downey Jr. for a lot of people. So I don't know. I don't even. I think Captain America and Iron Man were like the two most important anchors, so they were bringing him back so that they could keep that going. I don't know. I thought it was a very interesting choice as well. I think her brother was telling me though that in one of the universes, Doctor Doom took over Tony Stark's lab and kind of became him. So I think that they'll try to tie it in that way. I'm not completely sure, but I mean, I guess we'll only have to see. I mean, it might end up being something that we enjoy. I think it is a silly choice, but it might end up paying off.
Yeah, well, I have to see how it's done, obviously, but I am not
Right.
enthusiastic about it, to be honest. But
I get that.
I also just my expectations have been lowered quite a bit after Endgame.
That's fair.
So I have one more question here. I agree on the take with the fetch quests. I personally think that can ruin parts of the game. Do you think a majority of fetch quests in games can take away from the story? I think that some are okay, but I feel like it can't be too repetitive. Like, is it every game has some variation of a fetch quest, pretty much. Like any type of story based game has a get this item, bring it to this person. But I think trying to make it feel like that's not what it is and executing that well is the difference between it being monotonous and annoying and it just being a cool part of the game that you do.
I think my take on the question is that I find it a lazy way to kind of progress the story. I don't know if it takes away as much as it's just an easy way out to where they don't have to put too much into it. They can just make a dungeon or make an area for you to go clear and then you'll get your thing at the end. Just seems kind of lazy. I don't know if it'll particularly take away from it. Because, like, in Kingdom Come, it's not a fetch quest per se, but it's like a fetch information. Like they sent me to this one city and they're like, go do all these little side quests and then you'll end up with the information that you need for us to progress the story. That's kind of a fetch quest, but they did it in a way where it was still nonstop story the whole time. So it was like you weren't just walking around clearing out a dungeon, like you were actually doing something. So it's like it's been done a trillion times and it's been done right. A vast majority. It's just there's a bunch of ways to do it wrong, and it's typically just an easy way out.
I think that's kind of true, but I also feel like fetch quests are like almost the cornerstone of every MMORPG and RPG game, even if they're disguised well. Because like
Right.
Skyrim is probably half the quests in the game are a fetch quest, maybe more than half.
That's kind of where I was going, where I was like, it's so annoying when you just go into a dungeon, clear it, and then that progresses the story. I hate that.
I feel like that's like almost the cornerstone of most RPG games.
Yeah, and that's why I was saying that it just needs to be done in a way where it's like you're getting something out of it other than just the objective to move on. Like I like it when it's like you're gonna get a lot of story. You're gonna have a character follow you and tell you more background about like the world and whatnot. Like there's definitely ways to do it to where it's like way more enjoyable to where you don't just feel like, oh, here we go, here's another one.
Definitely, the execution is very important, or the
Yeah.
how it makes you feel. Like I just feel like sometimes you don't even notice you're doing a fetch quest when it's well done, or like you're excited because like they build up
Exactly.
the lore of this dungeon, or like maybe somebody went missing or whatever, and like you get some sort of information that makes you feel like you're part of the story. Whereas other times it's just like, oh great, I get to go find this weapon and then bring it back to this person, and oh my god, now I get that use that weapon.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is like in Kingdom Come, I didn't even realize that's what I was doing. But if you really consider the broad stroke of it, that's kind of like what it is. But it's like they did it in a way that it was just like really enjoyable. It was really fun. You meet cool characters, you do a cool story, and then you end up getting what you need. It can be disguised as long as you actually get something out of it. And like you said, not just like a weapon, just like something that builds up. Because I'm playing a role playing game for the story. Like that's why I'm doing that. I'm not playing it. You know, if I wanted something basic, I just because like a Call of Duty or, I mean, no, Halo doesn't do it that way, but like a Call of Duty is just like, oh, get to that point and do the objective. But it's like you're not really getting anything else out of it. So it's like that's what I would play if that's what I wanted. But if I'm playing a role playing game, it's because I want story building.
Don't forget to give
All
us your
right.
input on the Tom Nook Isabelle controversy that's going on.
Controversy we didn't even know was there.
Yeah.
Oh, we knew it was
This is
there.
nothing compared to the BAM controversy. Sorry, Juan. Sorry.
Dude. Unreal. I forgot that was even in this podcast. It feels like a world away because we really went in on that at Animal Crossing. But all right, guys. Feel free to follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Blue Sky, and sadly Twitter. Feel free to leave a comment and let us know about any of the stuff we talked about. We really do enjoy the engagement. Have a wonderful day, guys. Bye.
Peace out.
Bye.